Hi, and welcome back to the DPAF podcast format. I did a recent video about the upcoming Ryan Giggs trial, and I wanted to do a follow-up on what Kate's victim impact statement is almost inevitably going to contain. And I have no advanced knowledge of the victim impact statement in this case. I have not read it. I don't know anything about it. But what I do know about the Crown Prosecution Service is that the victim impact statements are manipulated. They are formulaic and they are designed to impact the verdict. They are not designed to provide context on the crime or the events that led to the trial. And I've got a lot of experience with these sexual assault cases involving the Crown Prosecution Service. And although this is not a sexual assault case, it has all the templates of it. The structure is the same. It is essentially sexual assault without the sex. And so I also made a prediction in my recent video on this case about how I thought it would be almost certainly sent to the Crown Court. And that has now been confirmed. Ryan Giggs went to the Magistrates Court. The prosecution actually wanted to send it to the Crown Court, and Ryan Giggs, unsurprisingly, had no objection to that. And there's going to be another plea at the end of May, and I'd assume then that the trial will be held kind of either towards the end of the year or even as late as early next year. May even coincide with International Women's Month. But going back to the victim impact statement, I've become a little bit of an expert in these, and I know what it is going to contain. And let me just go through some of the points that Kate's victim impact statement will almost inevitably contain in this case. And the first of those is one of Britain's favourite buzzwords these days: mental health. Kate's mental health was adversely affected by this incident with Ryan Giggs. She used to have really healthy mental health, and now she has really unhealthy mental health, and that is a key component of the victim impact statement that is going to be in there. Second one is the phrase anxiety. She used to be really calm. Now she's really anxious. She only needs to see a Manchester United logo on the television, and it's bringing back all these memories of the incident with Ryan Giggs. She's feeling anxious all the time. She's maybe taken medication for the anxiety, and this is another key component of the victim impact statement. Next up will be depression. She used to be happy, now she's depressed. She's maybe taken antidepressants. She's struggling to get out of bed. She's feeling tired, all this sort of stuff. And then there'll always also be another point about sort of socializing, can't socialize, afraid to leave the house. Nothing to do with lockdown, of course. It's all to do with the events resulting with her incident or assault, involving Ryan Giggs. So those are going to be key components of the victim impact statement. And a lot of people are going to be saying, look, David, she's obviously gone through a tough ordeal here. It's inevitable that these things are going to be part of the victim impact statement. And my response to you is that it doesn't matter what happened in November with Ryan Giggs. All that matters is the Crown Prosecution Service want to get a conviction. That's what pays the bills. The victim impact statement is a conduit to a conviction. It doesn't matter if it reflects the truth or not. And, it is there to pull on the heartstrings of the court and to help ensure a conviction or a lengthy criminal sentence for Ryan Giggs if he's convicted. And a couple of other key points about the victim impact statement. I mean, number one, none of the points in it are going to be challenged. They're all immeasurable metrics. How do you measure mental health? You say it was bad or it was good, now it's bad. How do we measure that? Do you say anxiety was good, now it's bad? How do we measure that? It might say she used to go to nightclubs all the time. She hasn't been to a nightclub since this incident. Nothing to do with lockdown, of course. But, you know, again, that might be a bit more measurable, but who's to say she wouldn't have gone to, or she would have gone to nightclubs if they're closed with lockdown. The other key point of the victim impact statement is that it's not actually written by Kate. It's written by the victim liaison. Kate will sign off on it, but, you know, it's the victim liaison that's writing this. And it's a sort of a boilerplate language that they use to help ensure a conviction. The Crown Prosecution Service are not interested in Kate at this point. She's done her job. She called the police, or her sister did, someone did, you know, in a sort of a panic or in the heat of the moment. They gave a statement to police, and that's what set in motion this legal process, which the Crown Prosecution are benefiting from financially. And they want to keep that gravy train moving. There'll be absolutely no effort to stop this gravy train from moving by the system itself. And the key with the victim liaison is that they are incentivized financially to, you know, help write and craft these victim impact statements. The victim liaison is not some sort of volunteer from a local hospice or a local community. I mean, they're a fully paid employee of the Crown Prosecution Service. They're financially motivated to craft language that helps secure a conviction, and they are also a card-carrying member of the feminist movement. A part of these cases is to advance the feminist agenda. It is not to ensure equal justice. It is to, you know, expand opportunity for women. It is also to restrict opportunity for men. And, you know, it's a sort of a female supremacist movement nowadays. The other thing about the victim impact statement I want to mention is what it will not contain. And this is some predictions you can take to the bank. There will be absolutely nothing in Kate's victim impact statement about her, you know, overcoming the adverse feelings from this event. It won't be a case that, you know, she felt bad for a couple of days. Now, you know, she's got a new job, she's got a new boyfriend, she's got a new purpose, she's got a newfound happiness about life. None of that is going to be permitted to be part of the victim impact statement. If Kate tries to insert that, you know, the victim liaison will be there to strike it off. That will not be allowed to enter the victim impact statement because it weakens the case against Ryan Giggs. It makes the assault seem less that it was, rather than the goal of CPS, which is to make it seem more than what it was. The other thing, I suppose the double standard about these court cases, I mean, everyone always hears about how women have the right to choose, or the women have the right to change their mind, especially in any relations with men. I mean, any kind of sexual encounter, woman's got a right to change her mind. Marriage, woman's got the right to change her mind. And anyone listening to this is probably nodding at this point, saying, yeah, you know, David's really correct about that. But of course, where women don't have a right to change their mind is when it comes to court cases involving the Crown Prosecution Service. If Kate's thinking to herself right now, you know, this case is a bit of a nuisance, I could do without this, I kind of regret that I called the police, I'd like to sort of pull out of it now. Ryan Giggs isn't that bad a guy. I'd maybe like to try and get back together with him. And the Crown Prosecution Service is not going to be allowing that to happen under any circumstances. If Kate wants to change her mind about the court case, she can forget it. Those rights to change that women have to change their mind do not apply in this scenario. So no chance of that occurring. So just to summarize, victim impact statements are manipulated. They are designed to impact the trial. They are not designed to provide context to the events. Second point is that the victim liaison is motivated by feminism and by profit. They are not motivated by truth. The victim impact statement contains carefully crafted language to pull on the emotional heartstrings of the court to secure a conviction and a long sentence. It contains immeasurable metrics that cannot be verified and that won't be challenged under cross-examination. They'll just be taken as read. There'll be nothing in the victim impact statement about overcoming adversity. There'll be nothing popular about Kate's response, about how she's bounced back or how she's happy again. That will not be allowed to be permitted. And the other thing is that the judge in the case or the journalist in the case will pick up on the victim impact statement and talk about how well it's written or how eloquently the language comes across. When was the last time you heard anyone, especially a judge involving a court case, say, I don't know what she was actually getting at with that victim impact statement. I didn't understand where she was going with that. She was kind of going off on a tangent. There was spelling mistakes all over the place. That never ever happens. What happens far more frequently is the judge will say something like, that was the best victim impact statement I've ever heard. That was the best victim impact statement that I've come across in memory. Even Shakespeare couldn't write a victim impact statement quite as eloquently as that. And I think that proves my point, how, all these women are used and abused essentially by the system. I mean, this case is about coercive and controlling behavior on the part of Ryan Giggs, and yet it's going to blatantly ignore controlling and coercive behavior on the part of the Crown Prosecution Service. And so I hope these points resonate with you. Everything I'm telling you is based on my own experience of these cases, and how predictable and how scripted they essentially are. We exploit women in these cases, and then we also talk about, ironically, how brave the women are that got assaulted, and yet we never mention women that don't get assaulted and them being brave, and how maybe it's better for society if women don't put themselves in vulnerable situations, if women make better romantic choices when it comes to men, and so that taxpayers can save more money on these outrageously expensive court cases. But of course, CPS do not want to be saving money on court cases. They want us to be spending more. So I hope you like this podcast. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.